Sorry, I am thirstier than a band kid on prom night. Wanting to be something is scary, but wanting to make something is horrifying. Because when you want to be something, you put yourself out into the world and you say, where do you want me? Put me in, coach. I'm ready and I'm here. But when you want to make something, you say, hey, this came from me. This is 100% me. What do you think? And sometimes the world doesn't like what you gave them. They don't like what you made. And that hurts. I've seen it hurt a lot of people who've put their ideas out into the world and they were excited to share it with the public, like excited to see if other people would get just as excited about their ideas as they would, as they are, only for them to just have it kind of tossed to the side. If someone doesn't like something that you made, you at least have that closure of, well, it just wasn't their cup of tea, but it meant something to me. You know that there's things you can do. It hurts. But something that hurts people a lot more is when their ideas just go unnoticed entirely. And in a lot of cases, it's not just something that it was a spur of the moment, hey, what if I made this? And everyone says, I don't care, that's dumb. And you're like, dang, well, there goes that idea. In a lot of cases, it's something that people have spent hours upon hours, days, weeks, years working on. And when people don't like it, they don't like it, but you have that closure. When they just don't care, it hurts even more because they couldn't even be bothered to form an opinion on it because it means that little to them. And so for me, choosing a career path, I had a lot of these fears in my head. My whole life, I was the one doubted. Everyone around me just said, no, you can't do it. No, that's never gonna happen. Dude, drawing, you're not gonna be able to make a living drawing. You're not gonna be able to make any money, provide for any family that way. There were a lot of people who, when they heard my ideas for stories, for Anomaly and what I wanted to do, they were immediately on board. And it wasn't until later years that I realized that the people who supported me were the majority of these people that had given me feedback. In fact, the ones that kept telling me to give it up and kept telling me how awful my ideas were the ones who had no idea what my ideas are or what my ideas were. All the people who told me that my ideas were bad were the people who had never taken the time out of their day to listen to my stories, listen to my ideas. They didn't know what my ideas were. They didn't know what my stories were. They just said that they were bad. The ones who listened, the ones who had my back, were the ones who were always telling me, keep going and you'll make something of this one day. One of the main reasons that animation is able to inspire people the way it does is because it makes them feel big. We use these big fight scenes, these big emotions, these big colors, these big explosions, these big noises and sounds. Everything happens big and it invokes emotion. They're meant to portray a story that no human with a camera, no matter how talented they may be, could never replicate, because it's just not the same art form. And so as a little kid, I decided that I wanted to be that guy that could invoke these emotions in people with my big stories and with these big emotions. It took me years to realize that the majority of my feedback was positive, was all good. But it took me even longer to realize that it wasn't just people I knew that were giving me positive feedback. I was afraid for years to show Anomaly to anyone new, to show my ideas to anyone new, because I was afraid of being met with more negative. I was afraid that if I showed it to enough people, eventually the negative would again outweigh the positive. But journeys don't start until you take that first step. And so about a year ago, I officially announced that I was making a pilot episode on this channel. I made that video in hopes of gaining 15, maybe 20 new supporters. And a year later, I have an email inbox full of people who want to know more, an Instagram full of people excited about the show, thousands of subscribers who patiently wait for each and every video that comes out so that they can watch it and learn what step the pilot episode's currently on. It wasn't until you guys that I realized that for every story that is put out into the world, there are supporters. And that's not just true for me. That's true for you, that's true for your friends, that's true for your enemies, anyone that you know. Everyone on the planet has a story to tell. And there's at least one person out there who wants to hear that story. Not even people who just want to hear the story, people who are excited to hear the story. They're waiting for this thing to come out, waiting to find out what happens, waiting for the story that you have to tell. I just never imagined that we would get as much support as we have gotten over the past year. And that support only continues to grow with the teaser trailer and with every video and with every post that I upload. The pilot episode is still miles away from being complete. We're still 10,000 steps down. But we're 100 steps farther than we were last year when I uploaded that first video. And that's all thanks to you guys. And so thank you for that. In the modern age of the internet, there are a million ways that these indie projects can be supported. And that can be something as small as leaving a like or a subscription or a comment on the video, or something as big as donating to a Patreon or a Kickstarter, funding these projects directly so that they can not only come out faster, but they can come out in higher quality. They can be what they are meant to be. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. I never thought this day would come, but the first official teaser trailer for Anomaly has officially dropped. Now, again, we are still miles away from the final episode being complete. And so, just because a teaser trailer dropped, please don't expect a full trailer or the pilot episode itself to come out anytime soon. And that is something that I apologize for. But the hope is that with the starting of this Patreon and the start of this Kickstarter, people will see what we're creating, and they'll not only be interested enough to, donate a few dollars so that these projects can come out sooner and at a higher quality, but that they'll also be drawn to the project itself. Anomaly is based very heavily on my life. I've never had to fight an alien dictator in the upper atmosphere in an attempt to save the world from an impending intergalactic war. But like many others, I have had girl drama. I have been bullied. I have been forced to grow up before I was ready in some situations. Anomaly is a story about loss, about acceptance, about not only finding out who you are, but finding out who other people are and deciding who you want your chosen family to be. It's a story about growing up and understanding that life is this crazy, mysterious, sucky at most times series of events. It's a story about being able to look on your past, look on your struggles, look through every horrible thing you've been through and say, you're my friend in some weird way. That's the story that I want to bring you guys. That's the story that I want to tell. And thanks to not just the current supporters, but new supporters that are coming in from the teaser trailer, or older supporters that haven't visited this channel in a few months, or even people that will join in a few years and are watching this after the pilot episode's already come out. It's because of you guys that I'm able to make these dreams happen. It's because of you guys that I'm able to hopefully one day live the life that I want to live. Join the Discord, link to that in the description. Go follow my socials, link to those in the description. As I previously stated, the Patreon and Kickstarter are both going to be linked in the description. Just make this as big as you can. Most indie projects live or die via word of mouth. And if there's a lot of mouths spreading a lot of words, we have a much better chance at making this happen faster. But whether or not we gain some traction this time around or not, one thing's going to stay the same. And that is that I'm not giving up, and I will keep working on Anomaly as much as I need to until it's done. I'll work on it entirely alone if I have to, because I'm not stopping. This is my dream, and I'll do whatever it takes to achieve it.